All right, let's find some figurative language in Kate Chopin's The Unexpected. So, first things first, we have here, when it says, when Randall for a brief absence left his Dorothea, when it says, the goodbye dragged with lingering kisses and sighs and more clinging till the last wrench came. This is technically a wrench is an idiom. If you ever heard somebody say there's a wrench in the how do you use it? It's a weird idiom that is barely used anymore. So wait, we could either say it was an idiom or we can say it's a metaphor for their goodbye. So they and more clinging. Um, we'll say Dorothea and Randall's goodbye is described as, I'll say, the last wrench the last wrench, which is both an idiom and a metaphor. So a wrench in the system means it's broken or it's finally gone. And the wrench, the last wrench in this is the metaphor for he's leaving, their goodbye. All right, let's see. We have, looking for more examples here. On a speed in a fortnight, we have one day better, a fresh cold had reached the limit of her endurance. You could maybe say this is a hyperbole because she really was just missed him. It's not like she was going to die. We could put here, I'll put hyperbole. Hyperbole. And then let's see. We showed him to be an almost perfect, so he was the perfect specimen of youthful health. Not anymore. Um, let's see. She would not let him see it. She was in a quiver of anticipation, a sensuous, sensuous fever of expectancy. We could say that is a hyperbole too, or we could even say a metaphor um, of her waiting is being described as a fever. Um, let's see. He's exhausted. This is are examples of really imagery. This was not the man who had gone away from her. What hideous transformation had he undergone? Or what devilish transformation was she undergoing? I wouldn't say that's figurative language. We'll say this at the sight and the touch of him, something within her seemed to be shuddering, shrinking, shriveling, losing all semblance. She felt as if it was her heart, but it was only her love. This could be personification of describing the way her love is. So for this, I might put on page 2. We'll say on page 2, Chopin uses personification to describe Dorothea's love as and shrinking and shriveling. Obviously, love doesn't do that. It's not tangible, so that would be personification. Then we'll say, what else do we want? Definitely the one at the end. I feel as if I would never let you go, as if I must hold you in my arms forever, night and day, always. That's a hyperbole. We could say, we will say here. Oh, that's also irony. Wait, if I go back up, um, let's put that there. We will say when Randall is expressing to Dorothea how much he loves her, the reader is aware of how disgusted she is with her once enchanted lover. Okay, that's irony, that line. And we can also say the line is a hyperbole because even though he is very, very much in love with her, Randall's dialogue on page 2 is an example of a hyperbole because he says, oops, there we go. And then I will say, even though Randall is very much in love with Dorothea, it is just not possible for a person to hold someone in his or her arms forever. There you go. So that would be hyperbole. And I will only be a hindrance. Repetition. Never, never, never. I'm going to put that in remember. Repetition isn't technically figurative language, but for the sake of this, our chart, we put it there. Dorothea's use of the phrase never, never, never insinuates to the reader how steadfast she is against marrying Randall. All right, that one. Let's see. Ooh, the horse thing. When Randall says about his uncle, where is it? So he's saying, whatever my fortune is yours. Now I'm getting morbid. Where is the one? This is the way my uncle Archibald went in a gallop, you know. That's an idiom. So I'll say, Randall uses an idiom to just when referencing how his Uncle Archibald died, stating, what did he say here? In a gallop, you know. In a gallop, which is an idiom referencing how a horse does something very how a horse travels at a fast pace, something like that. It's just when you're describing something a gallop, it just means it happened swiftly and at a accelerated pace. And our final, what were we gonna say here? The one about her running like death and was fleeing as if death himself pursued her. I will put when Dorothy makes the decision to leave her home, Chopin writes, what did it say? And was fleeing as if death himself pursued her. Was fleeing as if death himself pursued her. When Dorothea makes a decision to leave her home, comma, Chopin writes, she was fleeing as if death himself pursued her, which is a metaphor comparing the speed at which she traveled with that of a person running away from a deadly situation. And that would be figurative language. And there could be other examples. So if you find any that aren't on my list, when you hand in your study guide or when you send me your study guide for feedback, we can see if I missed any. And that is figurative language for the unexpected. Oops, how his uncle. There we go.